around here. Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today? Messed up that chord at the end there. That's what I get for not warming up before I start. So, hey George, PQ, hey up. Good to see you again, Collins. Gucci, good to see you again as well. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you all had a great week and had a great weekend. And welcome to Monday morning in South Korea. I've got a bit of a sinus infection, so I apologize if I sound a little funny and if I end up breathing down the microphone for this whole entire live stream. Had to start a bit later today. I sold 2 pedals last night and I went and posted those just before this live stream, hence why I'm in a bit of a rush as usual, but what's new, I'm always doing that. So we've got a purpose for this lesson. If you're new to the live streams, then welcome. What usually happens is I have like a lesson theme, teach some stuff at the beginning, and then just talk about whatever afterwards. And as always, you can get all of the content that you'll see in this video is available to Patreons, and there'll be a link for that in the description. I think there's a link there already, but please bear in mind that's probably to last week's live stream. I need to update that link because when I make these live streams, I just copy the settings of the last one, if you get me. All right, who have we got? David, hey. Have I missed a few as well? T-Belly, that's a great name. Hello. David S, good to see you. Legendary Records. Thanks for the love there. So yeah, I've already gone off on a tangent, but those chords in the intro there, I didn't plan to have these in the video, but well, what are we doing again? Where are you, OBS? So these chords, if you saw the video, I'm not sure if many of you did, the song was called Temporary. And if I flip over here, okay, which one are we on? Window Capture 3. Yep. So if you're familiar with Rob Scallon and Andrew Hong, they do making an album in a day called the 1st of October every single year. And we're currently looking at the 2021, which was, 5 days ago, as it says here. And one of the songs that they recorded there was called Temporary. And it was like that quintessential Midwest emo chord progression kind of thing. Just looping through some chords. And then with like a repeating vocal line over the top of it. And I thought it was just a cool little song. So I did a little cover where I put some tapping and stuff in and worked out the tuning. I think it's, what was it again? So this is, so your E and your A are the same, and your B and the E are the same. You change these 2 middle strings to C sharp and G sharp, and you get this A major 9 chord with an E in the bass, which sounds really lovely. And the reason I bring that up is, I shared that to Rob and stuff, and then he posted it on his Instagram this morning. So I woke up to a lot of followers. So I was like, what's going on? So that was really nice of him. So I thought I'd just go over that quickly. And here's those chords for you on screen. They've all got silly names, but just they sound nice. That's all you need to know. I don't know why the E's got the little red square there. I should work out what's going on there. But again, those chords, like I said, are available to Patreons, or you can simply just screenshot the screen right now and have them forever. Okay then. So that leads me on to today's content. But first, I'll just jump back over and see how everyone's doing. Yeah. Okay, Garrett. The 1st of October. It's fun. Really good fun to watch those videos, and some of the songs may not be the best, but it's really cool just to see what you can do. They have like a set times, like 12 hours to record 10 songs in one day, so it's pretty tight, but it's good fun. So if you haven't checked that out, I'm sure many of you have probably checked that out. Seems how Rob is a much bigger, and Andrew and Rob are much bigger channels than mine, of course. So the title for this video, how to find the right notes. So this is something I was thinking about last night, and we'll get into that one shortly. And if you've been following the live streams, if you've been following me on Instagram, I finally have these 2 guitars back. So I said these were missing. So the Trustful Old Faithful, my favorite guitar, blue, and the YY10. They are back from the shop. This one, you can kind of see, I'm not sure how well that'll come across, but even if it were focused, but I got a new nut on it because I messed mine up. And then he was like, I'll put some fancy bone stuff on there for you. I was like, I don't want to pay loads, but he, is that a red dot coming through? Oh, no, maybe it's gone now. There we go. Yeah, he upgraded that for me. And then the frets were a bit uneven after playing them for so long. So he crowned and leveled those and dressed the ends. So it's, yeah, back in action, feeling nice and smooth. I haven't got loads of fret buzz like I did before. So, not going to use this guitar today. Well, I did anyway. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, right? I used it at the beginning, just to show you that tuning and those chords. So, instead, we are going to use the YY10. So, changes are made to this one. I want to keep this guitar, and I wanted it to look a bit more classy. So you can probably see already the reflection there, if that's coming across nicely, is it's got a lovely gloss finish to it now. I'm not a fan of like satin fretboards, so I got that glossed, and I just got the whole thing done at the same time because it just looks a bit more classier. And I also changed the frets. I like taller, wider frets, so I put those on there. There was nothing wrong with the frets that are on here, just to let you know. This is your just personal aesthetics. And I changed the switch and the electronics just to match. We've got Seymour Duncan pickups here, but the stuff that comes in it is like really, really cheap electronics, I'm not going to lie. But I just thought I'd change that whilst it's at the shop. Yeah, and I couldn't be happier. It's really nice. Okay. So, how are we doing? Maybe I'll take the tape delay off for now. T-Belly, yeah, the one about Rob's mum is funny. Maybe I should do a cover of that one as well. Oh yeah, okay, Davian, they said they actually watched it and it inspired you to record something. So that's excellent. Okay, so I'll come back to you soon, Stephen, with the question about tapping. I'll just do this quick little segment. I can go to about 10:20 today, and then I got to get ready to teach my first class. But that gives us some time. And thanks, Kevin. It is a very nice guitar. All right. So let's get today's window up. Is it window 2? No, that's window. It's window 1. There we go. Window 1. So this chart may look confusing at first, but don't worry, I'll explain it all in due time. So the aim for this is just to give you some insight into ways, well, not ways, a way that you can approach finger tapping and finding notes to create something that sounds pleasing to you, what you want. And that's what I mean by using the right notes in this regard. That's what I'm talking about there. If I can bring this over. Yeah, because obviously what I mean by right is that these notes are all going to sound safe. They all fit within the key, meaning they sound diatonic. You can create tension here, of course, like always, but I'm not going to be showing anything that's out there or really, really, really clashy in this regard. So that hence why I put the right notes in quotation marks there. So what we're going to do, if we take a look at this chord chart at the top, the blue notes. Oh, I've put the chord on wrong. This is why I should check stuff before. Oh, actually, no, I can change it now because I'm not sharing a picture. I'm actually sharing the. There we go. I'm sharing the program. So there we go. We can fix it on the fly. There we go. So this top chord up here in the blue notes. This is that straight A major bar chord. And that's the chord you're going to be playing. And then underneath, we have all these bunch of notes. I've written underneath here, this is an A major scale. And this is essentially the notes that you are, and I am going to use for tapping. And I'll tell you about these different color notes soon. But essentially what we have is the key of A major with this chord here. And if you tap the notes that you can see on screen here below, they will fit because, you know, it's an A major scale, it's diatonic. So I'm just using notes from there. I'm not going to give you a tab or something there. I'm just giving you an idea of how this works. So all across that 9th fret there. And where this originally came from, if you're familiar with my song Restarts by my band Mountains, if you see that 9th fret across there, that's essentially the notes that I tap. Just straight across that line. And as you mess around with these notes, as you tap them, your ears should naturally start to hear which notes sound resolved, which sound more safer. And that is what's going on, what I've indicated here with the notes that are in pink. If you're familiar with triads, we've got the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th here. These are called chord tones, and they sound pleasing because they reflect the notes that are within this A major chord I'm playing here. So, like these notes. They sound resolved, right, whenever you tap them. So, and then the notes that are in black, these are the other notes from the A major scale, or just a major scale in general. And these ones, that's what I'm tapping at the moment. They don't sound as resolved, but they're colourful, right? So I'm just currently tapping all the notes that are in black here. They add some kind of tension, and you can view these as notes that you can include in your tapping riffs, but they are on the way to somewhere else. They're on the way to this more resolved sound. Like that riff there, I'm resolving on that to that note. So you can see those as like your kind of passing notes. They can be contained in your tapping idea, but there won't be the notes that really feel resolved or really that remembered. It's those stronger notes, those chord tones. That will be, you know, remembered and most familiar to people. And lastly, we have this note that I've put in the orange color. So this is your major 7th degree. So how do you feel when you hear that note, right? It's within the major scale, but it adds that tension there. It's because it's got that this sound, basically. That's what you got going on. That tension. So it's incredibly useful for adding tension and then releasing tension. And what you essentially have here, this scale that I've given you, is a major scale, but it's part of those modes that you would learn. So you'd have your A major, the B Dorian, straight up A major scale, the Dorian scale, and then Phrygian. They have those names, but they're all essentially the same notes. They're all the major scale. It's not until you apply a different chord behind them. The harmony is what makes it sound different. So if you just play all those notes like I just did there, they're all, you know, A major. So essentially that's what I've done with that little tapping segment there. I've took two modes and squashed them together, but just ignore that mode terminology. This is essentially just an A major scale. So you can do this for the first chord of any key, so major key. So you could change this to G major, and again tap those same notes. So this is all going to be based on this ringing from the E string. Okay, so I hope you're following along so far. I hope this isn't getting too confusing for you. I am looking at the chart and not looking at what's going on the screen. I hope my stream hasn't frozen, because it's frozen on my screen. I just got one last thing to go through, and then I'll get back over here. But if you can also help each other out if you've got questions and stuff in the meantime. Okay, so just to take a step back, let's get rid of the sound for a second. We're in the key of A major. This is the first chord in A major, which is an A major, which would set you with the diatonic scale of A with A major. So anything you tap there will sound good. And what works well here as well, you can use other chords from A major and still have this same tapping landscape, and you'll get different feels when you change chords. So let's say I introduce some kind of phrase. Let's do something like that. So we could go A, and I go to F sharp minor. Go to E major, and I'm playing the same tapping motif around that that A major scale there, but just by changing the chords. And these chords are all diatonic, meaning they're in the key of A major. Bit out of tune, sorry. And then your E major. And each one has a different feel, right? It introduces some tension. Because now your chord, your harmony is dictating how you relate to this melody, basically. So that's one way you can tap. You can just stick around the diatonic major scale of that key. So in this case we're in A major, so we're going to use the A major scale. There is obviously many other places you can play the A major scale on the neck. I'm just showing you something that you can use today. I don't expect you, and I never really expect anyone to learn where the major scale is across the entire fretboard, unless if you're very, very serious and you've been playing for a long, long time. What you can do is give yourself little structure like this. So like I've given you today, you have this A major bar, and you can write something with that. And eventually over time, you'll forget this. However, it will be part of you still, and you can create ideas that way. And then you can start looking at, you'll move on to looking at other chords and other scales that you can use. And that's exactly what's happened over time with me. I am familiar with arpeggio shapes, major shapes and stuff like that, but I'll just choose a little framework like this, write something with it, like I did with restarts. So I was like, how did I come up with that? I came back to it again, worked it all out, and I was like, oh yeah, I used that, the major scale to do that. Same thing with like when I did Incandescent as well. I found a corresponding scale to go with that chord, with that key, and then I tapped in that, and now I can't remember what it is, but that's fine. That riff is there, right? I don't need to really remember that. So, sorry, just to reiterate then, so pink notes are the safe notes. They are the chord tones, the first, the third, and the fifth. The orange note is your 7th degree, so in major that's going to have a bit of tension to it, and then the black notes are going to be the 2nd, the 4th, and the 6th degree of that major scale. So they're there for just like coloring and getting you from A to B. They're there to fill in the space. Okay, that hopefully is it. I didn't rehearse this one before I did this live stream, so hopefully I went back on myself a few times, but hopefully that makes sense to you in the end. Right. So again, this scale, this major chord thing, I will throw up on my Patreon, so that'll be available to Patreons. And of course, this is movable, and I'm just giving you some framework. I don't want to give you like, here's every single, major shape that you can use, major scale shape that you can use. It's a bit overwhelming in that regard. So I say limit yourself to some kind of framework like this and work within that instead of being overburdened by having too much. All right then. So let's take that away, and I'm going to jump back over to the chat. I hope that helped. Like I said, yeah, not much more to say really. Okay. So carry on. Where were we? So Stephen asked, what do you have to do to make your tapping sound so easily come out? Is it the amp gear thing, or if I tap a string with no capo, not getting a tapping sound? Okay, I'm just gonna roll down to see if anyone else has replied to you, Stephen, before I. Okay, so yeah, already Aaron's recommended a compressor. Hey, Midnight in November. Thanks for, you said you've been watching my content recently. So thanks very much for the support there. Oblivion, thanks. Nice. Okay, Nomad's replied as well. Okay. Yeah, okay. Nomad, this is a good recommendation. So Marcus Mena, he's got his compositional tapping book. I think I got it somewhere. I printed it out. Yeah. It's probably quicker to show you that, but I printed that one, and it's not got the loads and loads of exercises in it, but if you want to improve your technique, just like Nomad said, just practicing a few of the basic tapping things in there will really, really improve your finger tapping technique in there. Yes, T-Belly, it's compositional guitar tapping book. Okay, Stephen, so thanks for this extra input. I've always played on an acoustic, just got a telly. Okay, so it should be easier for you to tap, to be honest. Less tension on an electric, but some pointers. Yeah, if you're playing on clean, compressor is very useful here. Basically, the more gain in the signal, the more the more clarity you're going to have in your tapping. If you have like a tube amp, low wattage, if you keep that on clean and dial up the gain, like you'll find it really, really easy to tap. It's going to be very loud, of course, but that will really help there. It naturally compress in that regard. If you're going to be playing with overdrive, it's much easier to tap. You don't really need the compression so much at that point, but it's getting that that balance right. But just all about like practicing some of those techniques. Like the one I like to use is like walking up from the 5th fret, like chromatically. This hand should always be stronger because you've been fretting with it. For how long you've been playing guitar for. The strumming hand tends to be the weaker one, but like anchor your thumb on the side most of the time. And if you're going to be tapping with your little fingers, a trick I like to use is I like to put my ring finger on top of my little finger when I tap to give that more strength. And you can just walk up chromatically like that. It's a lot harder to do it legato style. Because then I have to tap with just my little finger. Yeah, but hopefully that helps you, Stephen. Yeah, there's some good tips for you there. So gain will give you more clarity, but obviously too much too much gain can be a bad thing as well. So if you're playing on clean, like I'm using a compressor now, let's see if it makes that much of a difference. So I'll do an A/B comparison. So that's on. Let's turn that one off. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. Not all that much difference. You'll get a definite noise floor increase with a compressor because it's bringing up, the lower sound. It's bringing up your quieter sound, and it's cutting off, the peak of your higher sound. So that's how that's working. Okay, so yeah, I hope that helps you out, Stephen, and thanks for the reply there. Okay, did I miss anything else? Just going through. Okay, Herbert, good to see you again. Nomad. Yeah, make sure the action's not too high is another thing. Hey, Sean. Hope you're doing well. FL, so from Florida, I guess, right? Did I say thank you? I think I said thank you for your submission, right, for the Super Tuning Friends. It was good. Okay, Dominic Republic, the R1 spammer. Good to see you. Corey, good to see you again. No, but you missed the beginning. You can always watch it back later on. We have a telly. It's back there somewhere. My stream's still frozen, so the preview. So I'm hoping it's still going for you. I mean, it must be, I guess. Otherwise, you would have told me that by now. Okay. D-Dogs Music, good to see you again. Hey Steve, just dropping to say hi. Will you start uploading these to Spotify again? Yeah, I was in the past. The problem is with that, I need to use like an intermediary website to do that. I can't remember. I think I was using something like called Podbean or something like that. And of course, they only give you like an X amount of space, and then you need to keep buying cloud data to store. And I remember it being pretty pricey, so that's kind of what put me off. But another time, Spotify wasn't in South Korea, so it was a bit of a pain trying to work out. I had to keep using VPNs and stuff to get my stuff on there. So now it's here. I'll see if I can work that out again. And I'll tell you what I'll do, because I am terrible. Well, not terrible with memory. I just have too many things to do, so I forget stuff. Yeah. I'll look into that again. That's a good idea. Spotify and stuff. However, yeah, a lot of this is demonstration stuff at the start, so I'm not sure. I could just put the part after that on Spotify or something. I don't know. Okay. All right, Rasta. But yeah, I'll think about it. Is what I'll say. For now. Rasta, Banana Man, great name, great sign on. Kind of off topic. Well, nothing's really that off topic here, if it's to do with guitars or music. But what's my opinion on a jazz master? So yeah, I'm curious too. Just joking. So it's a guitar I've wanted to play for a while. My last experience of a jazz master is probably gotta be 4 or 5 years ago, if I'm honest now. And the two that I've played two in my lifetime, and they both had really high action and really thick strings, so I didn't really get on with that feeling. But that's why I said I want to try another one again now. After owning the Mustang, I wasn't into using trems or anything back then as well, so I want to have another go. I'm very interested. And I think they're great guitars, and this is offset. Really sits comfortably in your lap. I need to put the trem arm back in. Have a wiggle stick so much, and the same with the Mustang too. Like that's offset, but because it's a big headstock and shorter scale, it is a little top heavy when you sit and play it. So I'd be tempted to try a Jazzmaster out, but because I've got the Mustang, I don't really see. I know they're different guitars, but that's like my wiggle guitar, my warbly guitar, and I just love the vibrato system on that. It's just so, even when you're playing, sometimes it'll it will modulate, it will bend up and down. So really really good fun guitar, that one. Okay, But yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, I can't say anything bad for Jazz Masters. I'd like to try another one though. My problem is, well, COVID happened, so I couldn't go to where any of the actual proper guitar shops are in South Korea. There's a few in the city that I live in Ulsan, but they've only got, there's no Fenders and stuff in there. They're all like Squier Ibanez's and stuff, but they don't have any. They don't even have the Squier Jazzmaster. So hopefully, eventually, I'll be able to go to another city and actually try out some guitars. So T-Belly, the compressor I'm using is the Kali 76. It's a really expensive compressor. It's a bit overkill, to be honest. It's a studio tool. So I would be happy with any other style compressor, but I don't want to go through selling it, taking a loss to just buy another compressor and have a little bit more money free on top of that. If I had to get another compressor, I'd probably get the JHS Whitey Tighty. I think that compressor sounds fantastic. My advice is, with a compressor, try to get one with a mix control so you can blend your clean signal back in. I feel like that sounds more natural in that regard. And just, yeah, I don't know any other way to say it, but the ones that I've had blend controls on, I've got on with better. I've had the Boss CS3 and the CP1X, I think it was, the more expensive one, and neither of them have blend controls, so it just sounds very obvious that you're using a compressor with those two. Not that that's a bad thing, but I do like that ability just to throw in a bit of your clean signal back in there. Okay, I like this one. Please, times how many? Spoiler alert, just use an arpeggiator. I think this this Boss synthesizer has something like that. If we go on the lower setting, I mean, that's a comedy sound. It's not the one I was looking for. This one. Something like that, right? Random arpeggiator. Well, that's certainly a cool pedal. Good fun. Let's try it with a lot of depth. I think there's a final setting as well. I think it adds an octave on top of it. And each setting on this, I should say it's a Boss SY1 synth pedal. It has like 10 different modes, I think it is. No, 11 for each of these settings. So, that sounds pretty cool. The cool thing as well, you can blend between the the dry signal and the arpeggiator. So I could take all of that signal out. All right, I'm having too much fun with this. I need to stop. Yeah, and you can control the the speed and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, but that pedal is lol, as Corey says. You know, I've barely played with it. I had it for months, and I need to sit down and mess with it because it's got potential. It's just the way I play, it doesn't really fit that so much. So I need to find a way to make it work. It sounds really good just to have it as like a if I put it back to the on the string setting. You know, I've used it a couple of times. Like a what was it? You know, I was in a different tuning for that song, but yeah, it sits quite nicely in the background, and it works really well, I find, with this guitar. So I'm keeping it around for that, and I'll create some more riffs with that one. Okay, so going back up, what did I miss? Okay, so good to see you again, Steve. Okay, this is a good question, Raya. What's the most beautiful tapping riff you've ever heard? As a composition, wow. It's going through. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to load up Spotify to help me jog my memory. Probably going to be thinking of like an entire composition that uses that. Okay, let's go through my library, artists, albums. That's the one. Leave your suggestions, by the way. I'm interested. What do you think's like the most like pretty kind of sounded tapping riff? I guess a lot of people are going to gravitate towards Yvette Young on that one. That's kind of what I'm leaning to. A lot of the standard stuff is great, really interesting, but I wouldn't like categorize it all as being, beautiful. I'm thinking more like atmospheric choice of notes and these kind of things, producing a twinkly kind of vibe, perhaps in that regard. Not an obvious answer comes to mind, unfortunately. But it's a great question. So I'm going to think about it, hopefully, as time goes on. And I'm going to look for suggestions that you make as well, because I think that will help me out there. Yeah. T-Belly, the pickups are great in this guitar. Yeah. But the thing is, I just like... my cable is now stuck under my computer chair wheel. It's going great. I tend to live on the neck pickup with it. They do sound great. Basically, they sound like really hot-rodded vintage Strat pickups. They're great. You don't need to put a lot of gain on them at all to get like a hot signal out of them. Basically, it's great. All right, carrying on. You got one recently, Rasta, one of these guitars I guess you're talking about. It's really, really good. Okay, Stephen, again, another question here, but this is a great one. P90s, absolutely fine. They sound great for math rock. Again, they sound like hot-rodded, single coils, because essentially that's what they are. It's really good. I want to get a guitar with P90s in. It's just there's not been one that spoke to me. So much to say. Corey, Blues Driver, great pedal. I'd get one of those. Okay, Herbert, talking about Empire, new emo math case. Corey there. That's an accurate description. T-Valley, how are you finding the new Delta Sleep stuff as well? Yeah, I have like the singles that they released, and when I'm in the shower or I'm walking somewhere, I'll listen to the three of them. My favorite's probably got to be was it View to Phil, I think it's called. Let's go home on Spotify and find out what they're called. View to a Phil. Then probably The Detail, then Forest Fire, Old Soul. Old Soul is good, but it's not my favorite so far. I'm not sure how everyone feels about that track, if you've heard it. Okay. Oh, I need to go in a few minutes, so let's do some quick fire questions. I don't think there's many left, to be honest. Anyway, I don't have many people watching right now, but I appreciate you all that you're here. Never Meant. I could play Never Meant if I had a guitar that was an FACGCE. But thanks for the request. Okay, Xiaolong, do you need nails to fingerpick? No, I hate long nails, to be honest. So mine are just regular nails, and I just use the calluses on my fingers to pick. Very atmospheric. And if you want to up your finger picking chops, just learn any TTNG song, and just especially one that has that kind of picking pattern in it, like a. I'm trying to think of the song that has that pattern. Soft Animals. Anyway, it's not that chord, but they're all different tunings. But that will definitely help with finger picking. But if long nails doesn't bother you, then I think that might help you out. But I personally don't like that feeling of having long nails, and so I just keep them short and use my actual fingers to pick. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, T Belly says you don't need nails to finger pick on an electric. They do make a difference to tone, of course. It's going to sound more like a pick if you're going to be plucking with your nail versus finger. I'm not sure how much it would affect it, to be honest, but yeah, try that out. Okay. Just carrying on down. Aaron, sorry. Are there any amps you'd recommend for math rock besides Vox? I don't actually use that Vox. It's just there for display. It's a Pathfinder 15R, like a solid state amp. What I'm using right now is this. If I bring this around, the Lunchbox amp Rev D20 is unplugged straight into the two note software for that one. So that works in that regard. It sounds great. But any amp's going to be fine. I'd recommend something by. It really depends on what you're going for. For me, I like to record direct, so this amp is just perfect for me at the moment. But if I had to have like a tube, like valve style amplifier, it would definitely be probably something Fender-ish in that regard. I'm not really and know much about amps. I haven't had much experience with amps. Partly because I've lived in apartments since I lived in Korea, so I can only have, I can only play at a very small volume, a low volume, I should say. So it hasn't really translated into getting different amps to try out. So everything's been about how can I record direct but sounds the best. I was using VST software, but everything was done in post. What I like is to have my sound before it goes into the interface. So everything that you hear, there's nothing on my videos, nothing's done in post. So I got my pedal board running into the amplifier, and then that straight into the out the back XLR into the audio interface. So everything you're hearing now is all pre-audio interface. If I was using software, I could probably do that now because I have quite a good interface, but yeah, running into latency issues, all these kind of things. So I just like having it all before in that regard. All right, I need to go. So let's just see what we got up here. Tuning. This is a standard at the moment. Defender Modern Player Thin Line Deluxe has P90s. Yes. Is that what you got, Collins? Excellent. Is that the one that was like the Chinese run? My friend has one of those, and I thought it was a fantastic guitar. Neuro DSP stuff, yeah, James. That sounds good. Yep. I've invested in this now, so I'm not going in that route. Okay, modeling amps should be fine. However, I recommend just getting if you're going for modeling, I'd just get a Roland JC amplifier. They sound absolutely fantastic. If that's in the same price range for you. If you're going to modeling amp, just probably go with VST software instead. As long as you've got an alright interface, you should be fine. Okay. Okay. I have some fine hands. Thank you. They don't look that fine. Maybe in this definition, but if you saw them up close. Okay. Yeah. No, there's no problem, James. I think the neural DSP stuff sounds absolutely fantastic. I'm just saying this is my situation. I just like having everything before. Okay. Okay. Well, Mustang recommends the Mustang GTX. I'll tell you what we'll do. Maybe next week we'll have another gear related podcast, because that seems to be a lot of the questions that are going on today. All right, I need to go. Otherwise, I'll be late to start my Zoom for my first class. All right, I really appreciate hanging out today. Really appreciate all the questions. If you want any of the content that you saw today, that's available to patrons. I'll throw a link in the description for you. Thanks for watching. There'll be some videos this week. I'm not decided on what I'm going to do. If you didn't already, on Friday, I put out some lesson content. It was a beginner math rock chord approach. However, even if you're not a beginner, I think there's some very useful information in that video for you. Okay, so what merchandise plug should we do at the end today? Let's pin the math rock guitar techniques book. Update is coming soon. I should be the end of November on this one. I'm doing a section on finger tapping, writing with finger tapping, and I've also completely gone over the book and I'm rejigging all of the sections just to make things clearer and better for you. All right then. Thanks everyone. Have a great weekend. Well, enjoy the rest of your Sunday if you're still on Sunday. If not, have a great week, and I'll see you all next Monday. All right. See you everyone.